Now, let's open up a panel discussion and hear from some industry experts to get some more insights into challenges and pain points current customers are facing around sustainability, and how Oracle is helping organizations to address them. So we're going to welcome back Jessica Sansom, who earlier shared her views on sustainability. We're also going to introduce Elena Avasani, who's our global sustainability lead at Oracle and recently named one of the top 100 women in sustainability by Sustainability magazine. I'm also going to introduce Paul Model, who's a consulting lead focused on our ESG practice, and then Diego, business development lead for supply chain and Oracle transportation in EMEA. So Jessica, Elena, Paul, welcome to all of you, and thanks for taking the time to discuss this very relevant topic today.
Thank you, Wayne.
So Jessica, let's go back and start with you. What do you think is the most common mistake that you see companies making when trying to become more sustainable?
Well, there are a few, sadly, but a really common one, I think, is looking for a very quick solution or a silver bullet without properly thinking through the environment in which they're operating and the consequences. So an example would be a lot of companies, I referred to it in my presentation, are looking at packaging. And, we see a lot these days of biodegradable and compostable packaging options being put onto the market. But sadly, there are very few countries around the world that actually have the waste infrastructure to manage this packaging and to get the benefit out of it properly. As an example, in the UK, most food waste collections, only 11% of households that have a food waste collection, and most of that is going towards anaerobic digesters, which is great. It's producing a biofuel, fantastic. But the only problem is compostable packaging doesn't actually break down in an anaerobic digester. It needs oxygen. So you've given the consumer something. You said, isn't this great? We're being much more sustainable, but actually you're causing a problem down the line. And I see that a lot in all sorts of different examples where people just aren't thinking about the full picture and everything, what's the existing infrastructure? What am I working within? And they just want a silver bullet and frankly, something that they can put as a green plus in their marketing. So please don't do that.
Fantastic. So it's about considering the whole process. Very interesting. Elena, let's continue with you. So in your current role as sustainability lead at Oracle, tell us a little more about what you're trying to achieve here at Oracle.
Sure. Since the inception of the program 14 years ago, just to show that we have looked into sustainability for many years now, we always looked at embedding sustainability in everything we do, from how we operate as an organization to how we develop technology that enables our customers. From a practitioner perspective, the North Star for us is decarbonizing our cloud infrastructure. 70% of the energy we use as a company is used in our data centers. So for us, the key priority is achieving carbon neutrality for our cloud data centers. We are at 100% already in Europe in use of renewable energy sources, at 55 globally. Our target is to be carbon neutral by 2025. We are also looking at decarbonizing our pretty substantial value chain. We have a goal of reducing our carbon emission by 50% by 2030 and be net zero by 2050. That requires a strong collaboration with our suppliers. So we are asking them to achieve also decarbonization in their business. But then ultimately, the way we can really make a difference is with our technology for our customers. We work with more than 400,000 large organizations globally, embedding, enriching ESG capabilities in our technology is how we can support our customers' transition towards a low carbon economy. And that is really the key focus of our program.
Excellent. Thanks, Elena. So it's about focusing internally, working with suppliers as well, making sure they've got sustainability goals in mind, and then I guess delivering technology that can help our customers. Very interesting. Thank you. So let's move on to you, Paul, around technology. Can you share with us some of the challenges you see our customers facing in regards to achieving sustainability and ESG goals, and why they face those challenges?
Yes, certainly. But firstly, I'd really like to thank Jessica for reminding us on the importance of language. So, Jessica, I thought your reminder of talking about sustainability as a noble goal and an aspiration was fantastic, and getting us away from the corporate BS of the jingoism of words like ESG and CDP. It really fills you with a sense of meaningfulness and purpose. But in terms of some of the challenges with delivering sustainability, it really is a complex, evolving area, and it's got many stakeholders. By that I mean, in terms of complexity, there are many sources of data required to provide the complete view on your organization's sustainability performance, and the objectives can often be seen to juxtapose each other. And so we need to save our planet, we need to be improving the life outcomes of the people of our planet, and we need to be delivering prosperity to the people of the planet to realize their expectations. These aren't always easy bedfellows. In terms of, and it's also evolving. There are a wide set of standards that have been defined to try and create a lingua franca for sustainability benchmarks. We've got TCFD, CDP, SASB, Dow Jones Sustainability Index, GRESB, EU disclosures, and GRI, to name a few of them. And then there's the emerging regulatory or fiscal reporting requirements on EU taxonomy, ISSB that was announced recently at COP26, and emerging SEC reporting requirements. And then we've got the complex web of stakeholders, including employees, executives, suppliers, customers, consumers, all have got key impacts on an organization's ability to achieve its sustainability aspirations. All these stakeholder groups and the mix of business functions creates a huge data set that needs to be aligned, enriched, and validated to be able to provide a comprehensive dashboard to plan, manage, and define your sustainability objectives. If we take one example of a major influencer of your sustainability credentials, let's look at supply chain. How do you procure and consume goods and services from your supply base to support emissions reduction and social justice outcomes? How do you design and build goods and services to eliminate emissions and waste disposal? And then how do you deliver those products in an ever-improving emissions profile at an economic price to your customers? The key to starting to address all of these challenges is the foundation of good sustainability governance processes facilitated by an appropriate decision support tooling capability.
Excellent. Thanks, Paul. So, I understood evolving standards, changing all the time, and it comes down to, I guess, again, data and information so you can make the right decisions. Fantastic. So let's drill down a little more, particularly around supply chain. Diego, can you tell us a little bit about the challenges specific to supply chain?
Yeah, sure, Wayne. When we look at supply chains, right, over the last couple of years, they have really been put to the test. and companies, have global supply chains have really faced critical challenges that really put companies in a position to having to think about how to reinvent themselves and really think creatively about new business models. I think when it comes to sustainability reporting, the main challenge still remains very much in the lines of what Paul said, which is how do we really manage that data complexity, that collecting the right data that we need from the many distinct sources across our value chain, our supply chain, right, to really set that baseline, that reporting baseline we need to accomplish our goals. Let's not forget that an organization's supply chain often accounts for more than 90% of its carbon footprint, and so it is essential to really think about your direct and indirect emissions, such as your purchase of goods, operational waste, and transportation and distribution. And the latter, the indirect emissions, really that I think is the most pressing challenge, because it is a twofold challenge to overcome, because it really can impact your own company's ability to achieve sustainability reporting goals, but also it has an impact on your customer side, because they also need to keep track and report and measure all these things.
That's again a lot about data. I mean, 90% of the carbon footprint comes from supply chain. So, it's a lot of data to track, I can imagine, across different complexities in supply chain. So if you don't mind, Diego, I'm going to stick with you. So how is Oracle supporting our customers with these supply chain challenges?
Well, let me center a little bit around transportation, the transportation space, since that's been one of the main topics today. So here, what we're doing really is focus on two core capabilities to deliver to give our customers. The first one being visibility, to track, measure, and report on their own carbon footprint emissions, as well as the transparency to safely and accurately share that data, that valuable data and insights with their own customers, in turn enabling their own sustainability reporting capabilities. In Oracle Transportation Cloud, we've built a sustainability solution that basically allows our customers to gain insights on the emissions across their distinct transportation modes, clearly allowing them to now identify, where the highest impact lies and take corrective and preventive measures moving forward. And another great feature, I think, it's in terms of communication and flexibility with external systems. Because let's take, for example, a customer who has outsourced their logistics operations to a logistics service provider. Now, all of that is outsourced, right? But at the end of the day, our customer still needs to report and track the impact of those emissions. And so what we've done is really allow them to gather information from their carriers, from their outsourced logistics, into their own tracking capabilities at OTM. Lastly, I think when we talk about what if scenarios and simulation and what can we do with the whole amount of data we've collected, we're working with customers to take their historical transportation data to run and run multiple scenarios, but going beyond just cost optimization, cost reduction, and becoming more efficient in the way you transport, but really trying to embed sustainability objectives into their assessment criteria.
Fantastic, Diego. So essentially, it's kind of weaving sustainability into technology, making that a core part of the way you do business. I guess very interesting. Paul, if we can go back to you, just mentioned a few challenges on addressing the ESG goals, and Diego spoke about a few which is kind of related more to transportation and stuff. How's Oracle supporting our customers in addressing the wider sustainability goals?
Yeah, thanks, Wayne. So you've heard Elena talk about Oracle's own sustainability targets and the outcomes that our clean cloud infrastructure can deliver. That's a great place to deliver immediate improvements in the emissions footprints by shifting workloads from locally managed, often fragmented computes to a sustainable energy-powered, low-emissions, highly carbon-efficient Oracle Cloud infrastructure. But Oracle, we want to do much more than deliver our customers with those one-off migration improvements. We want to be true partners to provide you with decision support that you'll have to be able to make and set and deliver on your sustainability ambitions. So we've invested in a low-cost, rapidly implemented asset based on our Enterprise Performance Management Application Suite, EPM, to enable you to capture, validate, manage, combine, and enrich your source data into meaningful KPIs to allow you to assess your current performance, plan your future ambitions, and set realistic year-on-year targets to achieve your overall outcome. Whether that's net zero for 2040, equality of opportunity, an outcome for your workforce by 2030, or philanthropic interventions to improve the social fabric of a target community by 2035. The same solution also supports your sustainability disclosure and external reporting requirements, dramatically reducing the manual effort and elapsed time required to collate, validate, and attest the underlying data to support your declared outcomes with a fully auditable data set.
Fantastic. Thanks, Paul. So it's basically about capturing and validating all your sustainability data, and then using that to plan on how you're going to achieve the goals you're setting, and also, I guess, share those plans and your performance with internal and external stakeholders. Very interesting. Thank you. Elena, let's move back to you. So how do you see the next 5 years evolving around ESG, but also the wider topic of sustainability? And what advice would you give our audience today?
First, this is not going away. Sustainability will be a mega trend along with digitalization for the foreseeable future, because it is about license to operate in our economic system. I would say expect the need for radical transparency. You will be pressured to disclose your ESG performance and abide by the highest ethical standards, because consumers will ask for it. Governments will expect you to report on your performance, and investors will require disclosure to understand how you're addressing climate change risk and other social issues in supply chains to give you access to capital. We all hope for harmonization of standards. It might take a few years to get there. The social aspect of sustainability will come to the forefront as a result of what we went through with COVID. There will be a stronger focus on biodiversity losses and water stewardship. So expect more disclosure on these topics as well. On the positive side, I would say think about exponential changes. We always think about a linear evolution of the economy, but energy, the increase of the share of renewable energy in the market will be exponential. And there will be strong investments in new technologies, carbon sequestration technology, green hydrogen, fourth-generation nuclear, new materials for products and supply chains. So that will see a massive acceleration on these new technologies and more investment going into that.
Fantastic. Thanks, Elena. So again, the need for more transparency driven by consumers, investment and governments. And then again, back to the theme that we started with, change, exponential change and innovation. Very interesting. And I guess talking about change, let's go back to you, Jessica. Let's end the panel discussion with you. Based on your experience, do you think it is possible for us to reach global emission targets? And who do you think needs to take the lead and responsibility to do so? What practical tips would you give to the audience today on how they can kind of get started?
I have my moments of dark climate anxiety. That's very true. But I do nonetheless remain fundamentally optimistic. I do choose to read that Patagonia ad from bottom to top, and particularly given that we have, more than 75% of the technology that we need in order to properly address climate change. We know what the solutions are, and we can roll them out very quickly. It's not that we need to develop something totally new. But what I would really like to say, I guess, is we've spoken a lot today about the professional side of things and what we need to do in our organizations. But the reality is, when you ask who needs to take responsibility, we all do. We need to not just do it in our professional lives, but we need to step back and do it in our personal lives, and not just every once in a while, but 24/7, 365 days a year, because ultimately we are the ones who are consuming. We are the ones who are voting, and we are the ones who can make that change happen. And if we don't do it in our home lives, if we think, we've done it at work, don't need to do it at home, then we will not make it in order to meet those targets. So, take it into your life, absorb it, and don't see that it's necessarily, a bad thing, that it's somehow depriving yourself, because actually it can make your life so much richer and healthier. If you power your home with renewable energy, and your transport and your travel, if you eat a lot, not a little bit less meat, I hate to say, but a lot less meat, you will be healthier. Plant-based diets are healthier for you. You don't have to be a vegan, but if you are 3/4 plant-based, you will reap the benefits. 11 million people a year die of diet-related disease. And we can do something really positive about that, and something positive from a sustainability point of view at the same time. So, think about who you are supporting. Who do you vote for? Who are you purchasing from? Go renewable. You absolutely have to. There's no room for non-renewable anymore. Eat a lot less meat. Embrace plants. They are really good for you. And my last one would be to say, we need to all buy less but better. We need to think about the purchases that we're making. You know, we need to move away from things like fast fashion, and we need to buy quality items and items that can be repaired. I've gone on a personal journey of learning how to fix electrical appliances over the last couple of years. You know, especially with things like COVID, we now know that we can adapt. We know that we can change, and we just need to take that and move forward with it, you know, and into this new era where hopefully we will, you know, make it and meet those emission targets. But it is very possible.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jessica. So, you know, the great thing is 75% of the technology we have from a corporate point of view to make those changes, and maybe from a personal point of view. But I like the fact that, you know, everybody can make a difference, you know, in terms of what we do, what we buy. And 11 million people a year dying from dietary requirements or illnesses. That's quite interesting. So let's change that up and eat a little more veggie, I guess, and less meat. So thank you very much, Jessica, Lena, Paul, and Diego. These have been great insights into how companies can build a plan, start moving the needle within their organization for a more sustainable future.